What's up, mobile gamers? Drunzer Gigs back with another multi-purpose video for you guys. We're going to look today at this hunter skin that I have here and also talk about a lot of the stuff that's been going around where people are saying he needs a nerf and all that kind of stuff. So I will tell you right off the gate that I am not very good with hunter. So I don't really think you're going to be seeing anything that indicates he needs a buff from my gameplay or a nerf or anything like that, because I'm just kind of average with him. But I will talk about like what I think needs to be changed and that kind of thing. So we're going to take a look at this skin. I figured I'd stick with the space theme from my last video. I actually like this skin, even though it's a purple tier skin, better than this one, just because this one's a little much for me. I like the skins that have kind of simpler designs, and it's just the little stuff that matters to me. So if you'll see, his gun is like super simple. It's like a satellite, as you can see here. It's even got the little rotating antenna on the top, and I just think that's so cool how they even have some writing on what would probably be like the cockpit observation area of the satellite. So that's super cool. And then as you can see, when we go back to his skin, the gun actually flies around like a satellite, and he'll like shoot it up into the air real quick. So I just think those little touches are really cool, and for me it's just a much simpler skin, and it's also doesn't have too much going on, so it's not an overly flashy skin, and that's kind of what I prefer. So he's pretty simple in this one. He's got a space suit, and then as you can see, his sensor grenades have like some of those reflective solar panels on them there, and then his cape actually has like some cables running through it and some neat designs. He's got some tubes there on his like lower back that come around to his stomach, so those are oxygen tubes that he's got there. He's got some gloves on, obviously, the spacesuit, and then I really like what they did with his hair. So his hair is super cool. It's like got that blue look to it, and then he's got the he's got that Geordi visor from Star Trek Next Generation, so that's pretty cool too. It almost has like a Borg look to it as well, so I think that's really cool that they did that. So it kind of looks like they took inspiration from both the Borg and from Geordi, so that's super cool. I always like little stuff like that you can relate to whatever like fandom you have and stuff like that. So we're gonna jump into a game of team deathmatch here real quick. We'll probably only do 2 matches just because it's gonna be a pretty simple skin showcase. And I would also say that, you know, the nerf conversation and the buff conversation is something we can talk about pretty quick as well. It'll probably only take me a game to go over, depending on how fast the game goes. But I think Hunter's really versatile. He does counter a lot of heroes with his sensor nodes and stuff like that, so being able to see where people are is really helpful. But as you can see, we're not going to get anything like that. Now, it does give you a speed boost, but I think that speed boost is pretty negligible unless you're chasing after a hunter, and then like he might get away a little bit. What I think is really good is his gun, but I also think that if you're like, it depends on the skill of the player. So for instance, if I was a better shot, I probably would have killed that Ruby in maybe 3 bursts, but because I have auto fire on and I'm just on the phone, so it's kind of harder to aim. I can definitely understand why some people would think he needs a nerf, but I don't think that he's like as game breaking as some of the other heroes. For instance, a lot of people are calling for a nerf to 0 Kelvin, and I can understand that more than I can understand a nerf for Hunter here, because I really think that they did a good job on his last nerf. No Sauce is going to use his ult. We're just going to back him up. Don't really think we don't need his tactical right now, so I wouldn't say that we're going to die here, probably. Yep. Alright. So, I don't know. I don't really remember what I was saying, but I'm just going to start over, I guess, because we've got the little spaceship here to talk about, which is really cool. This isn't for his skin. This skin that he has here actually was in the shop for glory points, or not glory points, T-gems, but it's not one of the ones that's in the lucky draws, so that's where I got it from. In case any of you guys were wondering, we might die to the Hualing here. Nope, we got her. Okay. So, like, in that instance, I could have got her super fast if I was a good player, but the fact that I was a little bit better than her when we were fighting meant that I won the fight. So I think that, you know, that's just to show that he is balanced. This Osas is actually killing people faster than us because of the fact that he can one-shot pretty much anybody in the game except for maybe like 3 characters, which would be the tanks. And as you can see, we got headshot by the Hualing. So I think that there's a lot of heroes in the game who you can say are overpowered, but aren't necessarily in need of a nerf. Like, if you are good at the game, then you can definitely use these heroes to their fullest potential. I think that's definitely true for any hero. I think T3 does a really good job where if you want to play a hero, you can just play that hero and you'll definitely do good. So all 3 of us got a kill there. So I think the biggest thing that people talk about when he needs a nerf is his little sensor grenades here. And while I think they're definitely useful because they do a tiny bit of damage, I'll go through the characters actually real quick to show you who gets countered. I'm gonna like everybody's performance there real quick. There's that banner for him. And then I'm gonna go over who he counters with his sensor grenades, because I think that it's decent to have that, but I think if you're going to have him counter people with his grenades, you should make it where, you know, maybe the reveal is only for like a second or a half second or something like that. So, like, for instance, Aletta, when she goes invisible, he completely counters her, and you can see where she is as long as she's in the circle. The same goes for Johnny Jet. Where is he here? Yep, there he is, down here. So Johnny is counterable with that. Any hero that goes invisible, you can see them. It works with Vincent unless he is disguised. So if you get like hit with it as you're playing Vincent, it'll reveal you, and then you can disguise, and it'll still stay revealing you. So that's just kind of like, you know, the way the devs designed him. Now, if I had it my way, I would not make him counter those heroes. I think that is a little much. I can see where people might want a nerf, but it seems like a lot of people want a nerf to the fact that he is doing a lot of damage, and I just think that if you take that away, I don't think his kit's very useful, because sure, you can see people and use his ultimate to knock people off the map, but it's very situational. So like this map, his ultimate's not going to be useful for me at all unless we have like a tank or something that I can use the ultimate to push them back off of me, and it looks like they actually have a really good comp for dealing with me here.
Do as I say.
Sindri is always a good counter to those high damage heroes because they give you that split second that they're not looking at you is when you are able to. And then there's also, like, I have some headphones on right now, so I don't need to be able to see the heroes in the same way. We are lagging pretty bad, so we actually died like way back there before we even tried to take cover from the yaw, but I don't think his damage is that big of a deal, you know? If you are corner peeking him or you're playing certain heroes, like Sindri, I had to focus on her drone, and if she would have been looking at me, I would have been dead. So there's a lot of ways that you can counter Hunter, and I think that while it's nice to be able to reveal people, there's also the fact that, like, do you really need it if you have a good pair of headphones? And the answer is probably no, I think. So, as you can see, he still has trouble with yaw. I mean, I have trouble with yaw in general, no matter who I'm playing, but the speed boost is nice. I think that if they were going to nerf him, which they don't need to nerf his gun, they should think about nerfing the charges that he has. I think you change his sensor nodes to 2 at a time. We're gonna see if we can't get her. We're gonna die to the yaw though. She's gonna push us here. Oh, we almost died there.
This is gonna hurt.
So as you can see, there are uses for his ultimate, but it's very situational. So I think if you changed, maybe his ultimate only stacks once or twice, and then his tactical only stacks twice. I think that'd be a really good change, and it would still give him his utility, because having a hero in the game who can reveal is a pretty big deal. And even though we're losing because I'm talking about it right now, so I'm not paying attention, you can see we're still, it's 8-6, and we're definitely not MVP or anything like that, but we're still getting kills and doing damage.
This is gonna hurt.
So you can see that there's still uses for the ultimate for sure, but like she easily could have dashed up at me before I actually got to that area.
Is halfway to victory.
Alright, so we almost got the triple, but that just shows like you can still pop off with him. I think he's still very good, but as you can see, I'm not really using his abilities all too much, and so he's just kind of average. Like, I still get kills, I can still corner peek, but then you can use his abilities to kind of gain a small advantage, and I just think that that's where the hero needs to be. When you're talking about balancing a hero, you need to make sure that he or she has like different things that they can do to different heroes and different situations, so that they're useful in a few niche situations, but not every situation. And I think that that's where the only problem with Hunter comes from, is that he just has he can throw these scans. Here, I can throw, let's see, there we go, 3 at once. So I've got 3 scans on the field at once, and I can cover the entire map. Now, if you make it like 1 with a shorter cooldown, so you sometimes have 2, but most of the time you don't, and maybe make it where his ultimate doesn't stack, or you're only allowed 2 ultimates per game, I think that would be really a lot better. So as you can see, I misused his ultimate, and because of that, they all focused me and I died. So I really think that it comes down to who is playing the game, and for a lot of new players, it's super simple. This gives you can see where people are, and then you shoot the gun. And then his ultimate is you just shoot the gun. You know, it's just an alternate fire button, same as Gloria, where you just do a different type of damage. So we might actually lose this. I'm actually going to try to help our teammates out here. Oh, she had Earl. That's unfortunate. Alright. Well, so, as I was saying, you know, it really comes down to who plays the hero, I think. And especially if you're on PC or something like that, the aiming's a lot easier. You know, autofire is definitely nice, but having the better movement and aiming abilities that a PC brings is also really good as well. We're gonna see if we can't tie this up here. She is not. Oh, that's because we're lagging. Okay. Whoops. Alright, so we got the draw. And we actually probably should have died to the Sindri, but we did get MVP. So as you can see, I did not do very good in that match. I would say that I did pretty bad. 7-6. So I only barely broke a positive KD. And I still got MVP. We still did pretty good in the match. So that's Hunter for you. I don't think he needs a nerf unless you change his abilities slightly, where he just has a few less charges on him. I think that's probably the best nerf. I don't think his damage needs to be nerfed, especially when you can consider, if you're close up, Shell and Aletta just absolutely melt people. Osas and Hua Ling, they are super good. They can one-shot pretty much anybody in the game except for the tanks. You know, almost all these heroes have right-hand peek, including Hunter. Cosma has AoE, so every hero has their strength, and I think if you compare him to heroes that can really down people super fast like Gatlin or Mark, Sindri, if you use her drone at the same time as shooting somebody, she can kind of do that too. I think actually Judix is almost better than Hunter because she can 2-burst a lot of heroes, whereas Hunter, I'm pretty sure it takes 3. But I would say she's pretty even with Hunter, and her ultimate is better than his. So to say that he's like super overpowered and needs a nerf, I don't think that's true. Like I said, the abilities is definitely where you go, where he has less stocks. And they did that with their nerf like a couple months ago, where they made it where he only has 1 when he first starts the round. so that you're not throwing them all down and flanking super fast, which I think's really good. I think if they just dropped his ultimate and his tactical down 1 and maybe his ultimate down 2, 1 to 2 charges on the ultimate is plenty. I don't actually see it get used very often anyways. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts and showcase this skin here because I think it's a really cool skin. It's really underrated, and I think that the idea that he is super overpowered and needs a nerf is also maybe not the best idea. So just a small nerf to his abilities I think would be sufficient. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on it. Feel free to comment down in the comment section what you guys think, if you really think he's that overpowered, or if you think maybe you think he needs a buff, if you're if you're some crazy person. But drop a sub if you want. We've got the skin here and my ideas on his abilities, so let me know what you guys think. I really want to know what the community feels is the best way to deal with Hunter, and you guys have a good one. Peace out.